everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Ben. I am with C2 Education, and I'm very excited to be talking to you about free money, grants, and scholarships. Before we begin, just to remind you or let you know, we have webinars twice a month on topics such as this, and topics including the SAT versus ACT, college admissions, how to prepare for the last minute on an upcoming SAT, and so much more. Feel free to check us out online at www.c2education.com, and please continue to join us for future webinars. On that note, what we're going to be talking about is something that can be a really tricky topic. So we're going to focus on a couple things during today's webinar. First, we're going to talk about the three different types of financial aid that are available to students to pay for college. Second, we're going to talk about how to actually start, when you should actually get started on this financial aid process, what you can do to set yourself up for success. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how you actually apply to scholarships and what that process itself looks like. So before we actually talk about the types of financial aid and all of that, I want to take a step back and just call out the one thing that is, I'm sure, on everybody's mind, and if you didn't realize, well, college costs money. The average public in-state tuition, that's the tuition of students who are living in the state going to a state or public college, is $9,410 a year. The average public out-of-state tuition, so that's going to a public university or college in a state that you don't live in, is $23,900 a year. And then private colleges on average cost $32,000 or more. Coupling that with the fact that the average student loan debt per person is around $31,000, and that bubbles up very quickly to what we have here in the US, $1.5 trillion of student loan debt across the country. So college is expensive, yes, but it is worth it. First of all, college degree holders earn around $900,000 more, almost $1 million more over their working lifetimes than those with only high school diplomas. College degree holders also have higher employment rates than high school graduates. So just purely on the idea of ROI, or return on investment, which is the idea of the money that you put in, how much do you ultimately get out of that money, how much does that money grow, is clear cut. College pays for itself over your lifetime. But let's be honest, there's so much more to college than just the return on investment in terms of your dollars. You're going to learn things that you're interested in. You'll find your passions for whether it's an academic topic or just the sports that you like to play, or the extracurriculars that you participate in. You're going to build lasting relationships with people that you want to hang out with. You know, when you're in high school, sometimes you're around the people that are in your neighborhood, and you're kind of, with the same people, and that's fantastic. But college gives you an opportunity to branch out and meet new people. And you're going to be stuck with them, yes, for 4+ years, but oftentimes these are going to be your peers that have the same interests, that really are trying to learn the same things as you, or are looking towards a future in a very similar way and having the similar goals. And of course, college is an experience. for the next 4+ years, it is an opportunity to grow as a person and to really step outside of your comfort zone, but also an opportunity to really do things that you just would not have the opportunity to do, whether if you were in high school or otherwise. And there's just so much more intangible benefits that go beyond just the pure numbers when it comes to your college experience. So if it's worth it, how do you make sure to actually afford it? Fortunately, there are billions of dollars in financial aid that are available to students across the country. And that financial aid comes in the form of grants, scholarships, work studies, and loans, and that will help make your college experience a little bit more affordable. And there are many different flavors of financial aid, from financial aid that's coming out of public resources or private institutions. There are merit-based financial aid, and there are needs-based financial aid. When it comes to merit-based, that is based on whether it's your grades, your passion, your interests, talents, and then needs-based is determined on your financial situation. Now, one thing that I'm often asked when it comes to college admissions and affordability is, well, if I apply for financial aid, does that hurt my chances of getting into college? Because they see that, oh, I would actually need support in terms of paying for the school. And the college might be like, oh, we want to save our money. That's not the case. Applying for financial aid generally does not hurt your chances for getting into college. So we've been talking about financial aid. I've been kind of giving you a preview of the different types. What I want to do is I want to focus on 3 big types of financial aid that actually exist. So the first is oftentimes the most common that a lot of people think about, and those are student loans. Loans are borrowed money that you must pay back, right? Oftentimes with interest. There are some student loans that are no interest student loans, but there are a lot of other loans that, yes, unfortunately, require you to pay back with interest. Now, there are a lot of different ways to get student loans, including public government-backed loans. Those are either from the federal government or from your state government, or both. And then, of course, there are private student loans, and that includes loans from banks and credit unions. Now, again, something I had pointed out, the average student loan debt total per person is $31,000 and 1.5 trillion across the U.S. So loans can be really overwhelming in one sense, but they are a really important way to afford college. The con is you have to pay it back. So let's actually talk about the next 2, and we'll see how they can all work together to further make your college experience more affordable. So the first type I'd like to talk about are grants. Grants are gifted money that generally doesn't need to be paid back. Now, I say generally doesn't need to be paid back because there are some federal and state grants that have stipulations, have specific rules to whether or not you'll need to pay anything back, whether it's you have to be in a certain program or you have to stay, have a certain number of credits per year, or have certain grades. So there are some rules depending on the state or depending on the grant that may actually say, hey, if you don't meet those stipulations, then you will ultimately have to pay them back. Grants typically are needs-based, but there are some merit-based or merit plus needs-based grants around. Generally, though, grants are need-based. Now, there are a lot of different places you can get a grant from, including the federal government. They have several grants in and of themselves. Your state and local government might offer grants. There are several nonprofit organizations, and schools, the colleges and universities that you're applying to, may also offer grants. The third financial aid type that I'd like to discuss are scholarships. So, scholarships are also, like grants, gifted money that does not need to be paid back. Almost all scholarships are straightforward in that sense. That's the subtle difference between a grant and a scholarship. Oftentimes the terms are used interchangeably, but grants, there occasionally are some stipulations, and they're almost always need-based, whereas scholarships almost always do not need to be paid back. But the con is that scholarships can actually impact your financial aid package. And so it will impact what colleges will potentially give you in terms of financial aid through the information they gather from your FAFSA, and we'll talk about what FAFSA means a little later. But it is just important to recognize that it does impact whether it's a type of grant or any other type of financial aid that you could potentially get. Again, scholarships are generally merit-based, which means it's based on whether it's academics or a certain interest or talent, and so much more. Scholarships run the gamut in the different types and possible approaches to earning them. Now, sources include private businesses, foundations, nonprofit organizations, and also some schools will have their own scholarships. And so those are the three big primary types of financial aid that are offered. There is one more type of financial aid, and that's known as a work study. Now, the way work study works is you will work typically while attending the school, and there will be stipulations again within that college or within that program around what constitutes work and where you can work and how many hours. And that money that you earn would go directly to helping pay for your education. But the three that are really the biggest are the loans, grants, and scholarships. Now, grants and scholarships, right? They're gifted, and again, typically they're not expected to be paid back. So it's free money in almost the truest sense of the word. Loans can be tied to the money you earn from grants and scholarships as a way to fill in the gaps towards paying for college. So if you're able to get grants and scholarships, that's going to help pay for college, but then you have your loans to fill in the gap in terms of what else you can afford or in the immediate versus what you might be able to pay out of pocket if you were to. What I love about grants and scholarships, especially the merit-based ones, is you really do hold the power and the potential of earning that money. Especially because if it's a merit-based scholarship, you have high school and throughout to really build the profile that they're looking for, whether it's an academic profile or an extracurricular profile. So how do you start? Where do you start? Well, it's really important that we discuss a couple key terms, and that's the true where do I start. So I want to walk you through three important terms that are going to really surround you in terms of the world of financial aid. The first term is estimated net price, ENP, estimated net price. The estimated net price is the sticker price of the college, so the tuition that they say, hey, this is what it costs to attend here, minus any gift aid and education tax benefits that you might get. And that ends up being the true cost of college for you. So just like when you go to the mall and you, or nowadays Amazon, when you go to buy something, right, there might be the actual sticker price, the retail price, but then you might have a coupon or there might be a sale, and you're going to be paying less than what the original price is. That's the exact same concept that the estimated net price is. Most college websites have net price calculators, so you can actually estimate and see what that cost might end up being. The next term is the free application for federal student aid, shorthanded as FAFSA. This is the big one in terms of financial aid applications. In fact, a lot of institutions will use information from FAFSA to determine any and all financial aid. So you need to really be aware of FAFSA. Everyone should fill out a FAFSA. In the past, FAFSA was filled out starting in January of your senior year. FAFSA has finally moved over to an October 1st kickoff. So now students can start filling out FAFSA, their free application for federal student aid, on October 1st, and that is really beneficial because you can potentially start getting information on your financial aid options before you have made a final decision when it comes to college. The last term is the expected family contribution, the EFC. So the expected family contribution is kind of a tricky term. It is a set of formulas that take your information from what you've submitted in FAFSA to create an index number. So it's not actually the literal amount that you're expected to pay or the literal amount that you will receive, but it's actually just a number that then is used to determine how much financial aid you might potentially receive if you were to attend a certain university or college. So that EFC is an index that then the financial aid department at a university might use to figure out the actual price of what they would give you in terms of your federal student aid or other forms of financial aid. So those three terms are terms that you're going to hear quite often in the world of financial aid, especially as if you're a senior and you're getting closer to actually filling things out and applying to colleges. So those are the key terms. Let's actually talk about what freshmen and sophomores can do. And there is a lot you can do as freshmen and sophomores. And I'm also talking about mom and dad with freshmen and sophomores. It's a team effort here. So the very first thing is to start researching colleges. Start looking at what schools you're interested in, getting an understanding of what they're looking for in their students, getting an understanding of what the college costs itself as well, again, using the net price, estimated net price calculator. Most importantly, your job freshman and sophomore year is to take academics seriously, especially if you want to set yourself up for success in terms of merit-based scholarships or grants. Right? You really need to make sure that you are doing well in school. So you want to challenge yourself. Right? Don't just take the easiest classes, but push yourself to get into APs or IBs. Right? And then do well in those challenging classes and do well overall in terms of your GPA. And you should really start thinking about preparing for standardized tests. You don't have to take 1 million SATs and ACTs by the end of your sophomore year, but you do want to start building the skills, whether it's working on the fundamentals or really just getting comfortable with the test itself, because there are scholarships and grants that are tied to not just your grades, but also to your test scores. There are also scholarships that are just based on your test scores. So you want to slowly start building the avenues for you to get those scholarships, to get those grants by building that foundation freshman and sophomore year. So that way, junior year and senior year, you're less stressed about academics, although they are going to still be challenging, but you can focus on other areas of your application. It's also an important time to discover your own interests, your passions, and get involved in those interests and passions. Right? Try different things out. Try an activity that you don't think you would enjoy and end up learning that you do enjoy, and vice versa, right? Do an activity that you think you're going to enjoy, and you might find out that you absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. But it's an opportunity to really try a lot of different things and find your passions so that by the time you are in junior year or in senior year, that you've really honed a talent or really made a meaningful impact within that extracurricular or within that field of interest. so that you can earn a potential merit-based scholarship, or so that you have experience that you can write about in an application essay. Now, this is also the time to start researching some scholarship opportunities. Some scholarships can be applied to as early as freshman year of high school. And so you want to actually take a look and start thinking about where you can earn some money from those merit-based scholarships, even within your first 2 years of high school. So freshmen and sophomores and freshman and sophomore parents, there's a lot students can do at this stage. There's a lot you can do at this stage to set yourself up for some immediate success. So now let's move on to our juniors. Juniors, you already have, I'm sure, a lot going on, right? Oftentimes it is can feel like the most challenging year of high school. And you might not even want to think about what you need to do to prepare yourself for financial aid. But there are some really important things that you should be aware of and should be trying to do during this time. And it all starts with continuing to work on your college lists. At this point, you should be visiting colleges. You should be researching and really understanding what they're looking for in students, what programs might interest you. And you should understand their financial aid programs, including their sticker price versus net price. You should be able to have a conversation with your parents about the cost of those schools. And you should start planning in terms of what you need to do to get in academically, to set yourself up to be a high profile that colleges are going to want to accept you. Because if they want to accept you and want you to join, they're more likely to try to figure out ways to help you pay to get into their school. Of course, you need to keep being a great student. Grades and test scores, like I said, for freshmen, right, matter, especially your junior year grades and your junior year test scores, because again, when colleges are looking at your application, they want to see that you're going to be a successful student. That's really going to impact merit-based scholarships, but that again also is going to say, hey, I really want this student to come to this school, and they'll try to figure out how to work on the financial aid side with you. So you need to be a great student for the most basic sense of getting into the college, but also because over the long term, it can help you get into a better financial aid package situation. Now, juniors, seniors, freshmen, sophomores as well, APs, IBs, and dual enrollment programs, right, can actually help reduce the cost of college through credits you earn through the exams or the IB diplomas. So that's another way to save a little bit of money when it comes to college. And lastly, you want to continue to hone in on your passions and your interests inside and outside of school. The truth is, a lot of the scholarships that are out there are not just academic, but interest-based. And so you want to continue to hone those interests so you can actually not just apply to those scholarships, but earn them. By junior year, you want to make sure to actually get to know what the FAFSA form looks like, whether it's mom and dad really getting an understanding or you all getting an understanding. It's really important to understand what they are going to ask and look for and what kind of documentation and information you need in order to actually fill out the FAFSA. I can't stress enough, you need to know the deadlines, both in terms of the college application deadlines, but also the financial aid deadlines, whether it's for grants, scholarships, for the FAFSA, for your loans, and so on. You really, really need to make sure that you're aware of it because there is no fuzzy deadline, right? It is a final deadline, and if you can't get it in, you won't be able to get that money. And lastly, by junior year, you really need to be researching grants and scholarships. You need to be able to have a list of potential grants and scholarships. There are many opportunities for scholarships. And again, just like with freshmen and sophomores, some scholarships can actually be applied to as early as junior year. Now, keep in mind, when I say that those scholarships can be applied to junior, freshman, sophomore year, doesn't mean that you would get the money immediately, but you may be guaranteed to get that money once you get into college. And lastly, let's talk to our seniors. So there is going to be quite a lot on your plate. So I'm going to break this down into two parts of the year. We're first going to talk about the summer and winter, and then we're going to talk about winter and or fall, summer and fall, and then we're going to talk about winter and summer. So for the summer and fall, seniors, you need to have finalized your college lists by this point. You really need to know what schools you want to attend, right? Because at this point, you should start working on your applications. You should start filling things out, working on your college essays, getting ready to actually submit your data and information. You should also, by this point, have a full understanding of the actual cost, again, the estimated net price, not just the sticker price, and their financial aid programs. You need to start working on, if not completing, your FAFSA. So FAFSA, like I had mentioned before, opens October 1st. And the sooner you fill out FAFSA, the better, because you are more likely to get information on the potential financial aid options you have. And if you apply earlier to certain schools, there might be more money in the pot for them to actually distribute. And of course, you need to actually start working on your college applications, right? Start filling out not just the application, but a lot of colleges will have a financial aid form that you need to fill out on top of any other forms that you already have filled out, for example, FAFSA. And then you want to, if you are thinking about applying early decision or early action, you need to make sure to apply to those schools. Speaking of early admissions and early applications, again, you need to be aware of the deadlines. And so be very careful when it comes to those applications. And when it comes to deadlines, that also includes when you're applying to scholarships, because certain scholarships might have deadlines that end at the beginning of senior year, within October, November, or December. And if you're not aware of that, it might be too late. And so make sure that you're not just researching and applying to scholarships by this point, but that you have a very clear understanding of the requirements and when you need to complete them by. So never, ever forget those deadlines. So one more note that I want to make about those early admissions deadlines. So when it comes to college admissions, there are a lot of different types of deadlines. Some schools have all these different types, some schools don't. There are regular decision, which is typically the approach that most students will take. Those deadlines range from December, January, all the way through March, if not a little later. And that's the vanilla option for when you need to submit your college application by. But some schools have early admissions, which is an earlier deadline, which allows you to hear back from that school a little bit earlier than other students. There are many different types of early admissions, but what I want to focus on is something known as early decision. So early decision is a binding application deadline. Why? Well, students who are applying early decision are declaring their commitment to their #1 choice school. They're saying, this is the school I want to go to. If I am accepted, I am going to enroll. And in fact, if you apply early decision, if the school offers early decision as an option and you apply, right, you are guaranteeing, you are promising them that you are going to enroll. It's a contract. Now, it is restrictive, which means when you apply early decision, you may only apply to that one school as early decision. You can't apply to any other school early decision because, again, if you get accepted, you have already promised that you're going to attend that school. Some schools' early decision programs also say that you're not allowed to apply early action or restrictive early action on top of the early decision. So you need to make sure to have a real understanding of that specific school's guidelines when it comes to early decision. Now, with early decision, there are benefits. Because you're saying to the school, you are my top choice, colleges are going to notice. And so students who apply early decision generally have higher acceptance rates than those students who apply regular decision in the same school. So if you have the grades and the scores, applying early decision actually can be really helpful. But there's a risk. And the risk is because you've applied early decision, you're only going to hear back from that school, and you're not going to get to compare financial aid packages from school A and school B. And so you're kind of left with that one option. Now, I mentioned that early decision is a bit of a binding contract. It's saying, hey, if you accept me, then I am going to attend. There is one exception, and that surrounds itself around financial aid. If you cannot afford that school, even if you've been accepted early decision, you generally are able to opt out and look at other schools and apply to other schools and attend a different school if need be. So, seniors, summer and fall, there's plenty to do. There's also a lot to do right through to the end of the school year. And it all starts with finishing up your applications. So you need to finish applying to those colleges because you need to get accepted. Once you're accepted, right, then you're able to actually look at the financial aid packages that those schools offered, and you're going to be able to say, hey, this school is going to be more affordable after looking at the entire academic or the entire financial profile versus this school. And you're going to be able to make a much more apples to apples comparison cost-wise. Now, whenever you do get a financial aid package offered to you, that doesn't mean it's the end of the line, right? If necessary, if you have more questions, or if you really want to go to that school and you just need a little bit more support financially, right, contact the school's financial aid office. They'll work with you to figure out what they can do and what you can do on top of what they're offering to make it so that you can afford that school. Once you've compared all those options, right, and you've talked to the financial aid departments if you've needed to, you're going to accept an offer. But again, be aware of the deadlines. There's a deadline to apply, but there's also a deadline to accept the school's offer. And so you want to make sure that you don't suddenly go, oh, I've gotten in, and be happy, right? You need to make sure to actually then tell them, yes, I would love to come to the school. You might need to fill out any remaining financial aid paperwork. For example, if you need to apply to a student loan, or if there are any other documents that the college will require for you to finalize your financial aid package. And breathe. Now that you've been accepted, now that you've gotten your financial aid package all squared away, right? Take a moment, breathe, look at all the work that you've done, be proud of the accomplishment that you've made in getting into the college, and relax a little bit. But then also don't forget to start preparing for freshman year. So I've been alluding to the many different things that you need to do to actually apply to scholarships. What I want to do is dive deeper into scholarships in particular, because these are the purest form of quote unquote free money that you can get for paying for college. So the most important thing to remember, and I've said this in many different ways, right? There are things that you can do freshman year, sophomore year, and beyond, is just to prepare as early as you can. do your research. There are many, many different opportunities, both big and small. There are scholarships that exist that'll give you a full ride. That means paying for everything. But then there are also smaller scholarships that might give you $1,000, $2,000 here, $500, right? That seems small, but it adds up. It can really help. College textbooks are unnecessarily expensive. Your meal plan might be a little bit more expensive than you expect. And so every little scholarship can really make a difference. The key thing here is to really understand the requirements of that scholarship. They might ask you to do certain things, or they might ask for certain documentation or certain pieces of the puzzle in terms of your application. So you want to make sure to understand the requirements. There might be eligibility requirements. For example, there is a scholarship for left-handed people. So you actually need to be left-handed, but there's more to it. You don't just need to be left-handed. There might be other things, whether academic or otherwise. And again, I can't stress this enough. I'm going to be like a broken record here. Deadlines, 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 deadlines. So in addition to preparing early in terms of just knowing what scholarships are available, you really want to start thinking about your extracurriculars, about your passions, because those niche interest-based scholarships are going to require you to excel in whatever that niche or that interest is. So whether you're a freshman, sophomore, or even earlier, you're younger, really start honing those skills so that by the time you actually apply to that scholarship, by the time you're in your junior or senior year, right, you really can portray yourself in the best light possible for that foundation or for that nonprofit that's offering that scholarship. And of course, for academic-based scholarships, right, you need to make sure that you're not just being a great student, but really keeping in mind that, you know, it's not just about the grades. There might be some scholarships that there definitely are scholarships that are subject specific. So it might be about like this, all the classes that you're taking in the sciences or your math classes, or it might be about whether or not you're just challenging yourself over the last 4 years. So what classes you take can matter. Some scholarships aren't just looking at your application in terms of your GPA and plain and simple. They might actually be looking at your application very much like a college would look at your application, really trying to get an understanding of who you are as a student and a person. Keep in mind, your test scores can really open you up to even more opportunities. So the PSAT NMSQT, which is the PSAT that you typically that you'll take in your junior year, most schools offer that, will open you up to several different scholarship opportunities, including the National Merit Scholarship. The PSAT that you take in your junior year is actually the eligibility test for the National Merit Scholarship, which is a really prestigious scholarship. But it also gives you opportunities to several other scholarships in and of itself. The SAT and ACT are even more opportunities to get you scholarships. There are some scholarships that are purely based on your test scores, in addition to scholarships that look at your overall academic profile. So those are the academic scholarships. What I want to do is I want to talk a little bit more about those interest-based scholarships, about those academic, non-academic scholarships. And the key thing here is that you really need to be able to demonstrate your passion in whatever that interest is, in whatever that extracurricular is. And there are two key ways of doing that. Number one is really being aware of the amount of time you're contributing. And this is really more about like the commitment that you've made, a demonstration of your passion for that is through the longevity of how long you've actually been interested or participated in that activity or interest. Right? How many hours during the school year do you commit to it? Is this something that is just during the school year, or do you continue this activity, or whether it's sport or otherwise, during the summer? second way to really demonstrate that passion is through the quality of time that you've put into the actual interest, extracurricular sport, right? And that shows through a lot of different ways. If it's an extracurricular or if it's a passion project of yours, right? What impact or contributions have you made to that club or organization? Have you received titled leadership positions within that club, which oftentimes is one of the clearest, quickest, easiest indicators of quality time spent? Have you had performances that are really special, and have you won medals and awards and so on? So quality of time and amount of time are two key elements in actually then earning an interest-based scholarship. So how do you actually show all this stuff? Well, when you apply, you have to fill out an application, right? And the truth is, whether you can take this as a positive thing or not, scholarship applications feel a lot like college applications. They are going to ask for you to, many times, report your academic performance through grades, your test scores, all of that stuff, fun stuff, your report card you might need to submit, right? What classes you took. They might ask for your extracurricular profile, right? So what activities do you do inside and outside of school? So it can feel a lot like a college application. Now, not every scholarship application is going to have this, right? Some scholarship applications are a little bit more honed in and might just really ask about one subset of your overall profile. But they also might ask for things like letters of recommendation. They might ask for you to submit an essay, whether it's like a college essay type, they give you a prompt and then you've got to actually write out the essay, or submit a writing that you've done in the past. It might be something that was graded by a teacher in school, or that you did on the side. They might ask for you to be interviewed, or if it's an art, sport, or otherwise, you might need to submit some sort of portfolio or videos. So when it comes to the letters of recommendations, if they do ask for a letter of recommendation, right, they're doing that because they want to really have a clear understanding of who you are in the classroom currently or in your area of interest. The most important thing to keep in mind when it comes to letters of recommendations is that you're actually asking the person, the adult, whether it's a teacher, a coach, or other individuals who have actually directly worked with you in the classroom or in that area of interest. You don't want to just have someone who is who you know and isn't relevant immediately to the actual merit that they are awarding you for. So what can you do to help those individuals who are writing those letters of recommendations? Fill out a brag sheet. So many teachers and guidance counselors, when you ask them for a college application recommendation, right, will give you something known as a brag sheet. It usually kind of looks like a college application, right? You'll fill out your information, and that'll help them write a really good recommendation. Right? That's the same thing, same approach that you want to take when it comes to letters of recommendations for scholarships. Take that brag sheet seriously. Right? Fill it out the best you can, because you want to be able to give enough ammunition to really set that teacher or that guidance counselor or that coach up for a great recommendation. And if your teacher or your coach or whoever it is doesn't actually ask for one or give you one to fill out, you should fill one out yourself. Go online and look up a brag sheet and supply it to that individual so that they can really portray you in the best light possible. Now, the last piece that I want to talk about with that application is the actual essay. A lot of scholarship applications will include or require an essay to be completed. You want to take these very seriously. They are not your standard school assignment essay. So compared to a 5-paragraph AP English Lang essay, right, the prompt is going to be harder because it's usually more personal. But then you also need to keep in mind you want to spend much more time actually understanding the prompt, what they're looking for, much more time brainstorming and pre-writing and drafting and revising and editing and revising and editing and revising and editing and so on, until it really is crafted to be something that truly captures who you are. So you need to be willing to get lots of feedback from others to make sure that this essay is going to highlight the best of who you are. And the difference when it comes to writing these essays is always in the details. Right? Good writing can really make any story unique and stand out. So use what you've learned in school, the skills that you learn, figurative language, literary devices, vivid imagery and details. Really think about the word choice, the organization and structure. And if you're a funny person, right, you feel free to add humor, but if you're not funny, then don't force it, because it'll be obvious. So really apply those skills that you learned in all of your English classes to make this essay the best possible essay it can be. So there are a lot of resources available, but I wanted to highlight a couple for you in terms of looking for scholarships, but also for grants and more. The College Board has a great website. Their Big Future website is a place for you to learn more about college, to look up colleges that might be interesting to you, but also to learn more about financial aid. The free application for federal student aid, FAFSA, is again a really important tool for you to use as you start applying to colleges, especially if you're a senior. Their website is fafsa.gov. You want to make sure that you're going to the .gov website and not any other website, because it is, one, a free application, and then two, it is through the federal government. CareerOneStop.org is a fantastic place to look for potential scholarships as well. That's through the Department of Labor in the United States. FinAid.org is a fantastic website to look up private scholarships. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of scholarships that you can find through that website. And then your own local government's websites, whether it's about grants or scholarships that are given by your local government, your state, or just an opportunity to search for scholarships that are specific to your state. And at C2 Education, we can absolutely help. We can help you prepare for the grades, the scores, and the actual application. We can help you figure out what colleges you need to start thinking about and what you need to do to really get into that school so that you can get a great financial aid package and more. We provide a very comprehensive program from start to finish in terms of your path to admissions into your dream college. We personalize the program to meet your needs, and our teachers are some of the brightest in the country who go through training on a regular basis to really make sure that you're getting the best possible experience. And so with that, I want to thank you all so much for attending today's webinar. I hope you've learned a lot more about grants, scholarships, and financial aid in general. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we have webinars twice a month on topics such as this and more. Feel free to check us out at our website, www.c2education.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.